Okay, this video is about how to complete the square for circles. So we know that if we factor something like number one, it's going to factor you're looking for what number multiplies to 9 adds to 6, which would be 3 and 3. And since we have the same thing in both parentheses, we can write x plus 3 squared. The same thing happens on number 2, except it's x minus 5 squared. These different polynomials or trinomials are called perfect square trinomials. And if you look at them, the square root of 9 is 3, half of 6 is 3. Square root of 25 is 5, half of negative 10 is negative 5. So it fits this pattern every single time. And when we complete the square, our goal is to create these perfect square trinomials so that they factor nicely and we can get our equation. So when we're doing this, for example 1, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to group our x's together. So we have x squared plus 8x, and then we're going to leave a blank. And now we're going to group our y's together. So we have y squared plus 6y plus blank. And now we're going to take that negative 10 and move it to the other side, because anything without a variable is going to go to the right-hand side. So if it's negative 10 on the left, it's going to be positive 10 on the right. And now we got to fill in the blanks. So we're going to look over here at the 8, just like we did with the parabola, and half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. Now with the parabola, we are adding it to the same side of the equation, so we had to do the opposite sides. But with circles, it's the opposite side, so we can do the same sign. But whatever we do to one side, we have to do the other to keep it balanced. Let's do that again. Half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9. And I add a 9 over here to keep it balanced. Now I want to factor this part. So it multiplies to 16 and adds to 8 is 4 and 4. Or we can see that half of 8 is 4, or the square root of 16 is 4. So we can get that number pretty quickly if we have created a perfect square trinomial. Now we are going to factor this part. Oops, I should have had a plus in here. This plus is really important because we're going to learn some other shapes that don't have a plus in between the parentheses. They have a minus. It's going to change the shape entirely. So it's really important we get that plus there. Okay, let's factor that part in blue. The two numbers that multiply to 9 add to 6 be 3 and 3, or you can see half of 6 is 3, square root of 9 is 3. So we know that's going to be our answer. And then we're going to have our equal sign, and then we're going to add together these three numbers at the end. So this is 26 plus 9, which would be 35. And now we've got our equation. So you can see your center is -4, -3, and your radius is the square root of 35. Now you can check that does break down to 5 and 7, but there's no pairs, so we're done. Okay, we'll do this again. We're going to group our x's, and we're going to group our y's. Okay, anything without a variable goes to their side. So it's -9 on the left, so it becomes +9 on the right. So to fill in the blanks, the same thing. Half of 10 is 5, 5 squared is 25. Now some of you might be thinking it's -25, but that's wrong, because when you square the number, we're squaring it in parentheses, so it gives you a positive, because -5 times negative is a positive 25. It's always going to be a positive when you square it. But whatever you add to one side, you have to add to the other. You have to keep your equation balanced. Half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. So we add that to the other side. So now we're going to factor the first three terms. So instead of thinking about factoring, just take half of this middle term. Half of -10 is -5 squared plus. Now we're going to factor this part. Half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. Okay. And now, so this was this part. This was this part. Now we're going to add all those together. We add all those together and we get 50. So our center is 5, -4, and our radius is the square root of 50. So this is 5 and 10, 5 and 2. So we get 5 square root 2. All right, let's try it again. Group the x's. We have x squared minus 2x plus blank. Group the y's, y squared minus 12y plus blank. 8 goes to their side, and now it's -8. Got to fill in the gaps. Half of -2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. Put it on the other side to keep it balanced. Half of 12 is 6. 6 squared is 36. Don't forget to write it on the other side to keep it balanced. Fill in the blanks. Half of -2 is 1, so this is x minus 1 squared plus half of negative 12 is negative 6. So this is y minus 6 squared equals over here. When you add this all up, negative 8 and 1 is negative 7 plus 36 is 29. So our center is 1, 6, and our radius is the square root of 29, which doesn't simplify any further. Okay, over here, I'm going to group the x's, but all I have is x squared. There's nothing else, so I'll just put blank. Plus y squared minus 14y plus blank. 7 goes to the other side, and now it's negative 7. Now, normally we take half of the term that has just the x or just the y, but on this one, there's no term that has half the x or half the y. So there's no x's. There's an x squared, but there's no just plain x's. So if there's none of them, there's 0. Half of 0 is 0, and 0 squared is 0. Over here, half of 14 is 7. 7 squared is 49. Don't forget to add it to the other side to keep it balanced. So when I simplify this, this part right here just becomes x squared. So do you really need to add the 0? No, but I wanted to show you that so you understand why it is what it is. On this one, when I factor this, half of negative 14 is negative 7. And then when I add these, negative 7 and 49 is 42. So my center is 0, 7. The radius is the square root of 42. So this is 2 and 21, 3 and 7. So it does break down. So there's no pairs. Okay, if we look at this page, now we're trying to put that together with the graphing. So first I'm going to group my x's. We have x squared plus 4x plus blank plus y squared minus 6y plus blank equals, and this negative 3 goes to the other side. Half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So now I can simplify this. This first part, multiply 4 and add to 4. I don't have to think that hard. Take half the middle term. That's 2. So I have x plus 2 squared. Okay. Over here, factor this part. I don't have to think that hard because half of negative 6 is negative 3. Equals. Add all these numbers together. 3 plus 4 is 7 plus 9 is 16. So my center is negative 2, 3. My radius is the square root of 16, which is 4. So when I graph it, my center is negative 2, 3. And then I'm going to count 4 in each direction. So I can go left, right, up, down. Just remember, you got to count them straight. And then when you connect the dots, it doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to look like it's actually a round shape. And you absolutely have to connect the dots because otherwise you wouldn't have the graph of a circle. All right, if we try this again, we have x squared minus 2x plus blank plus y squared plus 4y plus blank equals, this negative 4 goes to the other side and becomes positive. Half of 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. Add the number to the other side. Half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Add the numbers to the other side. So when I'm rewriting this, the first part factors, half of negative 2 is negative 1, so x minus 1 squared, plus this part is y plus 2 squared, equals 5 plus 4 is 9. So my center is 1, negative 2. The radius is square root of the, oops, let me put a comma there, square root of 9, which is 3. Now, on the ones that you have to graph, the radius is always going to come out to be a nice number. I'm not going to make you graph ones that have weird numbers in them. So this is 1, negative 2. And then we go 3 in each direction. And there's our circle. So if you want to try one on your own, you can pause the video and then come back and take a look at the answer for number 7. Okay, here's our answer for number 7. So I grouped the x's, and again, with the y's, it was just the y squared. So technically, if I wanted to, I could put a plus 0 in here, but it's not necessary. So factor the first part, and then I just get y squared. When it's just y squared, remember that's going to be 0 for that coordinate of the center, and that's it.